Hello everyone. So this is our Python course. Roneeta Purkayastha, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, SOAT, Adamas University. Welcome you to this session of Introduction to Python. So we will start off our session with the introduction to this popular programming language of Python. We will be looking at the overview of the main points, of the major points or reasons why we should be learning Python, why it has taken the programming world, the technical world by storm, what are the different companies, big organizations or firms which are using Python for their applications, for building their applications, and then we shall see the internal working of Python and end our session with some of the references used for creating this presentation. So, every one of you must have heard about the buzzword Python. So, Python is a programming language which has its application in different type of areas. Okay, so these areas, most of the areas you might be knowing that these are the machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science, gaming, web development. So there are so many different type of application areas in which Python is used. Now Python, the programming paradigm under which Python comes, it is a general purpose, high level, object oriented and following and containing both functional and procedural type of programming paradigm. So it is not just a single uh, paradigm, programming paradigm which it is following. It is following different type of programming paradigms. Now, why Python has become so popular? The main reason behind this is that it is very easy to learn, easy to code, and makes the code readable. So why is it easy to learn and use? Because the problem that we want to solve, this can be written using Python with a few lines of code. So same problem if you want to solve using C++ or Java or C, so we will require more lines of code. So this is one of the most important reason why Python has become so popular. It is not a new language, new programming language. It has been created way back in 1991 by a developer named Bodo van Rossum. So it has been around the corner since the 1990s, but it has gained popularity in the past, in the recent past, due to the advancement in emerging areas like artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, etc. So let me give you an example. Let me give you an example like where this Python is used. Already I've told you the different programming paradigms and the application areas in which it is used. So suppose you have opened an e-commerce site and you want to buy a smartphone. So you have um, given a search keyword, the search query as a smartphone with some of the other features. Now, after you close the e-commerce site and you browse some other website, like some website for studying, or some websites for listening to music, like this, so you will see that the same web page will show some advertisements of the same type of smartphone which you searched for in the e-commerce site. So what does this mean? It means that uh, the company has collected your data and analyzed the data and tried to find out your preferences and your buying preferences, your browsing habits. So all these have been traced, and accordingly some relevant ads have been given to you. These have been popping out on the screen. So this kind of recommendation system also can be used by Python language. Okay, so I just give you one example of the application of Python. Like this, numerous areas are there. So Python is very easy to learn and it is friendly, and it has got a lot of application areas. Now Python is not a compiled language, it is an interpreted language with the major focus on code readability. Now code readability is a very vital feature, that whenever a developer writes some piece of code, this should be easily readable. Means the people who are referring to your code must be able to understand it, interpret it easily without much effort. So this is possible. This has been possible with Python because it involves fewer lines of code, unlike Java or C++. Now this is a self-explanatory image which has been compiled from the internet. This shows the top 10 popular programming languages which the beginners can use to learn. So in this list, as you can see, that Python tops the chart as the number one. After that, we have Java, then JavaScript, and then the rest of the programming languages. So this shows that how Python has um, conquered the place of the first rank due to its code readability, user friendliness, vast application areas, its applicability, and it has occupied the first position in this chart of popular programming languages. So this language is used by not only the software engineers, software developers, but students like you, beginners like you, school going kids, researchers, scientists, and very big companies. We'll see in the later on slides that how this is used by a numerous range of people. Now the first question that might be coming to your mind is that what are the different application areas of Python? So the first and foremost, I would like to state that data science and machine learning is the very important area where Python is used. So it is one of the most commonly used languages for data science and machine learning. Machine learning is a specialized area of AI. So where uh, different statistical methods are used to make intelligent predictions out of data. So here Python is used frequently for exploring data, for analyzing data, for data visualization. So we have different type of packages which are used in Python. So I hope you know what is meant by a package. So a package or a library is a uh, bunch of functions which uh, has got the features, different features or functions which are defined, and the users or the people can just directly call them in their program and use them. They do not need to write the code by scratch, right? So they can just use the code, can use the functions which are there in the library. So we have NumPy, Pandas, scikit-learn, TensorFlow, Keras. So many Python packages are already used, and this is one of the reason, the first and foremost, the important reason why we are studying Python now. Web development is another big area where we have different frameworks like Django, etc., which helps us to build web applications in a very efficient manner. So there are so many websites which have been developed by using Python, and scripting is another area where we people also write programs for server administration. We just automate the different mundane tasks without Python, which would have taken more time. So it would have been time consuming to perform those tasks. But with the advent of Python programming, we can just automate those tasks, which will save our time and resource too. So Python libraries, coming to Python library, this is another vital reason why Python is so popular, that we have a numerous and extended range of libraries and framework. So not only for machine learning AI, we have also Python packages for different string operations, for interacting with the operating system, for interacting with the protocols, with interacting with the networks. We have different type of ready-made libraries. We just need to import those libraries into our program, and then we are free to use any of the features which are available inside the library. So some of the common libraries already I have told you. These are the NumPy, Pandas, scikit-learn, and TensorFlow, which are meant for deep learning purpose, Keras, and you'll be surprised to know that it already includes more than 85,000 modules. The Python package index actually includes more than 85,000 modules and scripts to be used, right? Next is that Python is open source. Python is open source. So, what is the meaning of the term open source? So, these are the this is the environment, or you can say these are the programs which are open for use by the public. Python has got a large community of developers who are very active, and they regularly update their websites, forums, tutorials, so that it can benefit the different learners. So if you're facing any problem with your Python development or with your Python experiment, then you can just browse or post your questions into the Python dedicated forums, and they will just give you the solution within no time. This is the main reason why Python is so popular, unlike other programming languages which are closed source. Now, Python is cross-platform in nature. Python is cross-platform in nature means we can use the Python programs across different type of platforms without wasting our time in changing the code or updating the code according to the environment into which we are using. So we can perform the code on different type of platforms, like we have Linux, Windows, Mac OS, etc. So a program which has been done or implemented in Windows will require minimal or no changes if the same software built with the help of Python is made to run in a Linux environment. So by now you must have understood that with all these vital points, we can easily understand that Python is improving our productivity. So we are writing less code, we are writing easily understandable code, we are using the support of extensive libraries and frameworks. So this increases a developer's productivity 10 times. So you can just build a simple game using Python within 2 days if you seriously learn it and understand the fundamentals and intricacies of Python development. So it is really boosting up our productivity, and people are more enthusiastic and more eager to learn Python nowadays. Next, it is the job and careers. Yes, the the job opportunities into which you can imagine yourself if you understand and know Python is huge. We have machine learning engineers, we have data analysts, data scientists, then data engineers, data architect, machine learning engineer, deep learning engineer. So there are so many different kind of profiles, job profiles into which you can be placed if you really know the language and can implement and build softwares with ease. So the future of Python is really bright with all the facilities it is providing to the developer community. Now next, I have just put in a trend graph into the presentation. So this is a graph which is showing the trend of the questions, technical or programming questions, which are posted into the Stack Overflow website over the past 10 to 12 years. So I hope you know what is Stack Overflow. It is a very popular website, technical forum where The developers, engineers, they regularly post their queries or doubts or questions or any problems or any errors they face while developing a Python program. So in during this time gap, time duration or year duration of 2009 to 2022, Python oriented programming questions were the highest. Among other programming languages like C Sharp, JavaScript, Java, C++. So this clearly shows that how people are oriented, dedicated towards Python programming, Python development. Now, in the beginning of the presentation, I have stated that there are a number of companies which have been using Python for their building up of software, for troubleshooting, for web development. So these are some of the tech giants, big companies which have been using Python. So I hope all of you know, uh, at least you know or use these websites, particularly the left hand side, the ones which are stated in the left hand side and also in the right hand side. So most of the websites are very popular. These are the social media websites. Some of them are the video streaming, music streaming websites like Netflix, Spotify. Some of them are the social media like Facebook, Instagram websites, cloud storage like Dropbox. So they are using Python for their web development, for their interface, for network administration, etc. So who knows that if you are really passionate about Python programming, you may land up a job or an internship into one of these tech giants if you really aspire to be an efficient, good Python developer. So now, in the beginning, we have just been discussing that Python follows a multi-programming um, paradigm. So it is an object-oriented programming language, just like Java. It's a high-level programming language. It's a general-purpose programming language, and it is an interpreted language. So we know that most of the languages, like the C language, they just convert this language, C language just converts the high level code into machine code. But this is not the case with Python. And it's a very good thing because if machine code is generated, then it becomes machine dependent. But we have stated that Python is cross-platform in nature. The same program will run with minimal or no changes under different type of environments, may it be Windows or Linux or Mac. So the reason behind this is that Python generates, or you can say converts, the machine code into something called as bytecode. So the compilation is internal to Python, and this bytecode can't be understood by the CPU. It is very essential that the CPU understands whatever has been converted from the high level code. So, to interpret this bytecode, to execute this bytecode, we use an interpreter known as the Python virtual machine. PVM, which is used for executing the bytecode. So this diagram or illustration clearly shows or illustrates how the background working of Python is being implemented or is being done. So here we can see that the Python code, here we can see that the Python code is being translated into bytecode by the syntax checker and the translator. And this bytecode, which I've already told you or discussed, that it is not dependent on the machine because it is not the machine code. It is a PYC code, bytecode, and then this bytecode will be converted into the or executed or rather executed by the PVM, which acts as the interpreter, and finally we get to see the output. Whatever output is relevant to the particular problem. Okay. So these are few of the references which uh, you can study or use for your Python learning. And to sum up our session or to conclude our session, we can just reiterate a few points like what is Python? So we just discussed in the beginning that what is Python programming, what are the uh, programming paradigms that Python is following. So it's an object-oriented, high-level interpreted language, general-purpose language, having a huge applicability in different domains. Now, these domains also we have discussed individually. What are these domains? These domains are the artificial intelligence through which human beings try to make machines intelligent enough to solve a particular problem. Then data science, deep learning, scripting, web development, these have been the major areas. Then we also discussed the example of recommendation system. This is only one example I told you. Like this, you have different applications of Python. Like you have the sentiment analysis, then you have machine translation, disease prediction, that is we can just predict whether a person is having diabetes or heart disease for an example. Like this we can use it for different application areas. Now Python is also used in the area of NLP, computer vision, so we have specialized Python packages for specific use cases, right? So for computer vision we use the package OpenCV. So these are some of the areas that we have seen. Next, we just followed the graph, the current trend of the popularity of programming language, uh, questions based on which these are posted into the Stack Overflow site website. It's a very technical and popular forum into which people post their queries, technical queries. And lastly, we have seen the internal working of Python. So how Python code is executed to generate the output, how the interpreter is working, which is the PVM or Python virtual machine to generate the output, to get the output from the bytecode, which is not machine dependent. This is the reason why Python is cross-platform in nature. And so if you're asked like name some of the properties of Python programming, then you can easily say that it is an object-oriented language, general purpose language. It is easy to learn, easy to code, generates code readability, having huge applicability, used in the areas of machine learning, AI, computer vision, deep learning, natural language processing, etc. It is open source in nature. It is an interpreted language. So these are some of the properties I told you which Python satisfies. So hope you had enjoyed the learning session, Introduction to Python. And if you have any queries, you can write to the mentioned email ID. Thank you for your participation. So I'm just concluding the session over here. Thank you.